Hey everyone, the legend that I chose to look at, or the origin story that I chose to look at, was actually an origin story from the Cree Nation. The reason I chose this was because I have a really close family friend. Her name's Nicole Bear. Her family is Cree. They're from the Ochapowace Reserve, just outside of where I grew up. I actually grew up around like 3 reserves, so I'm quite familiar with origin stories and how their tribes came to be and stuff like that. The origin story that she had me look at was one that she said was most well known and most associated with the Cree. And it's called the Legend of Wisijek, How the North America Came to Be. So the Great Mystery, Ichikemoto, he sent a great flood and it killed so many animals and people, and they drowned, and there was a lone survivor. His name was Wisikajak. What he did was he survived on a small island with some animals, and they worked together and they built a canoe, and they rowed for many days in hopes of finding land, but they didn't have any luck. And when the rain finally stopped, Wisikajak realized that he didn't bring a piece of the earth with him to rebuild and rebuild life and such. And so with him he had an otter, a beaver, and a muskrat. And the beaver dove in first into the ocean, and he dove deep as he could, and for a long time, and when he came up, he was so tired and he was out of breath and he just couldn't get all the way to the bottom. The next that dove in was the otter. And he dove in, and same thing. He dove as far as he could, and he came up, and he was out of breath, and he just couldn't get down to the bottom of the ocean. Next, the muskrat went down, and he swam, and he swam, and he swam, and for hours it seemed like he was dead, that he was gone. And so finally they towed up his little body, and in his small little hands, was a piece of the earth. So long story short, the muskrat sacrificed his life so that there could be life on Earth. Sorry, I'm just reading. It's kind of a long story. So when they pulled him up and they found the piece of this earth in his hands, they knew that they could start life again, and that there would be hope for people and animals and plants and all sorts of life. So when they pulled up this little piece of earth, they're like, okay, well, we have this earth. How are we going to grow it? And the turtle, he stepped up and he said, I will take the weight of the earth on my back. And what he did was he stayed in the water and he grew the earth on his back. And by growing the earth on his back, it became so big. And he also sacrificed himself so that there could be life on earth again and that earth could grow. And now that huge island that grew on his back is known as North America. I thought that was a really cool story. I have actually heard it before in school when I was in elementary school. So it was nice to kind of think about it again. Another thing that I liked about it was part of his story is kind of in relation to Noah's Ark, like with the big flood and stuff like that, and the lone man being on a canoe, which Noah was on a boat, but you know what I mean. And I thought that would be perfectly incorporated into my lesson plan, because in my lesson plan I had students search different origin stories, and in their origin stories I wanted them to find something that represented themselves and their families. And I thought this one would have been a good representation of my family and how I could think of my family coming to be, because my family is like fish. We love being in water. We love going to the lake. And yeah, I just thought it was cool, and it relates to me in that form a little bit. And yeah, it was cool to look at different origin stories. I had fun researching a few different ones, and it was also nice to find something close to where I'm from. I think it makes it more personal and just more interesting to look at. So I'm excited to hear your guys's. Thanks. Bye.